Hi, I'm Robin Bensley. Welcome to Chow Time. Years ago, I was traveling with my family in the English countryside. I remember the roads were so narrow that lavender wildflowers brushed up against both sides of the car at the same time. Well, we happened upon a tiny stone village with an ancient church right in the middle. So we pulled up to a slightly crooked village pub with a carved wooden sign that read, "Ye Old Cat and Fiddle." We ducked under the low doorway, and there was a slate floor, smooth from ancient conversations. Pewter mugs hung from hooks above the thick wooden bar, and then a row of porcelain plates with scenes of castles and former kings were on the wall, along with an oil painting of a horse, cracked like an eggshell from age. A fire glowed in the corner, and we sat down at a rough wooden table. And then a seasoned bartender actually said, "Draw you an ale, can I?" They didn't have much in the way of food, but he recommended the jacket potatoes. They were fantastic. So I'm going to recreate what we had at that tiny pub. They call them jacket potatoes because they're not peeled. They're still wearing their jackets. Now, I have 4 of these large baking potatoes in the oven, 375 degrees. I just pierced it with a fork, and I put them directly on the rack. And I want to cook those for about an hour or so because I kind of want the insides to be a little bit like mashed potatoes. And while they're baking, I am going to cut up an onion. I've got 4 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a large skillet. I'm just going to add my onion, and I want to saute that until it's nice and tender. While those are cooking, I'm going to slice up 1.5 pounds of cremini mushrooms, which are actually baby portobellas. And these work so well in this recipe. Now, as you can see, I've removed the stems. I just twisted them right out because the stems have a tendency to be a little woody. So I just want to slice them like that. There, that's done. And by the way, I always wash my mushrooms. You're not supposed to. I always do. And somehow they turn out okay. So I'm going to add all these cremini mushrooms to those sauteing onions. Now I want to let these cook over a fairly high heat for maybe around 8 to 10 minutes. Look at that, the mushrooms are all nice and tender. So now I'm going to sprinkle the onions and the mushrooms with about 2 or 3 tablespoons of flour. Incorporate that flour in there and let that cook for about a minute, and that will thicken the sauce. 2.5 cups of stout go in there. And by the way, the stout is room temperature. Then I'm going to add 4 more things. I'm going to put in 2 teaspoons of brown sugar. About 1/2 teaspoon of dried tarragon. And 1/2 teaspoon of each salt and pepper. After it comes to a boil, I'm going to turn the heat down to simmer, and I'm going to let it cook for about 15 minutes until everything thickens up and becomes a beautiful, rich, thick sauce. I've pulled the potatoes from the oven and they are so soft and tender, but the outside is crusty, which is exactly what I want. So I'm going to prep the potatoes. Cut them down the middle, push them at either end, like that. And then take your knife and just sort of get the potato a little bit fluffed up in the middle. You know what's funny is, growing up, if we had a baked potato, you would have it with butter and salt and pepper, maybe sour cream and chives. So jacket potatoes are a whole new way of looking at them. So I'm only making 2 tonight. I'm going to have the other 2 tomorrow. So I'm going to put them on a plate. Mushroom stout sauce is ready. And all you do is spoon it right in the center of the potatoes. Look at that, it's nice and thick. And then I like to dress the plate with a little tomato for color and because it goes so well with this dish. What a savory vegetarian dinner. And you know, you can also fill jacket potatoes with whatever you want, like creamy chicken filling or spicy shrimp or just a whole lot of sauteed vegetables. Jacket potatoes are the best thing ever. Thank you, England.